G'day everyone, and welcome back to the course. In this lesson, we're going to focus on the Defence Force Jobs Aptitude Test. One of the biggest challenges candidates face is the speed of the assessment. You'll have just 20 minutes to complete 51 questions, and those questions can include number patterns, visual reasoning, and verbal logic problems. During the test, you won't be allowed to use a calculator, phone, or any other devices, so being able to solve questions quickly and accurately is absolutely essential. To help you prepare, I've included our free JOA study sample questions and revision template in the description below. Feel free to download it and use it during your preparation. All right, enough talking. Let's jump straight into today's lesson. In this session, we'll be covering one of the most common question types in the JOA, numerical reasoning. We'll start with our first category, number matrices. Take a look at the question on your screen. You'll have 20 seconds to work out the answer. That's right. The correct answer is 13. If we look at the pattern from left to right, the numbers are decreasing. So to find the missing number, we simply work backwards. Starting from 10, we add 3, which gives us 13. Let's double check that. Looking from bottom to top, we can see that 15 decreases to 12, which is a difference of 3. Applying the same pattern, 10 plus 3 gives us 13 again. So we can confidently confirm that the correct answer is 13. All right, let's move on to the next question. You'll have 20 seconds to work out the answer. That's right, the correct answer is 48. To solve this question, look at the pattern from left to right. The numbers follow a sequence of plus 36 and then 24. Applying the same pattern allows us to work out that 48 is the missing number. Let's verify our answer using a second method. Looking at the numbers from bottom to top, we can see they increase by 7 each time. Following that pattern also gives us 48. So both methods lead to the same result, which means the correct answer is 48. All right, let's move on to the next question. You'll have 20 seconds to work out the answer. That's right, the correct answer is 5. If we look at the pattern from left to right, each number is multiplied by 2. Using that rule, we can work backwards to find the missing number. Since 5 times 2 equals 10, we simply reverse the process and calculate 10 divided by 2 equals 5. Therefore, the correct answer is 5. All right, next, let's look at the key strategies for solving this type of question. Focus on rows or columns first. Most patterns follow a horizontal or vertical structure, so always check the rows and columns before looking for complicated calculations. Check basic math patterns. Look for simple operations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Use a complete row or column to find the rule. Start with a row or column where all numbers are visible. Identify the pattern first, then apply the same rule to find the missing number. Look for hidden structures. Pay attention to diagonal relationships, corner connections, or patterns based around the center number. Use reverse thinking. Once you discover the rule, work backwards to calculate the missing number. All right, now let's move on to the next question type. This is type 2 number series. You'll have 20 seconds to work out the answer. That's right, the correct answer is 9. To solve this question, look at the sequence from the first number to the last. The numbers follow a decreasing pattern, and the difference between each number is getting larger as the sequence continues. By identifying this pattern and working backwards, we can determine the missing number. Following the rule, we find that the missing number is 9, therefore the correct answer is 9. That's right, the correct answer is 4. If we look at the sequence from left to right, the numbers are increasing, and the amount they increase by goes up by 1 each time. Once we identify that pattern, we can apply the same rule to find the missing number. Following the sequence, the correct answer is 4. That's right, the correct answer is 8. This question is a little more challenging because the difference between each pair of adjacent numbers is not the same throughout the sequence. If we look closely, we can see that every second pair of numbers decreases by 6. Once we identify that pattern, we can apply the same rule to find the missing number. Following the pattern, the correct answer is 8. Alright, before we move on to more questions, let's quickly go through some important strategies for solving number series questions. First, look at how the numbers change. Check whether the numbers are increasing or decreasing by the same amount. If the gaps between numbers are not the same, look at how the differences are changing. The pattern might be increasing or decreasing step by step. Most number series questions follow a simple rule. Start from the beginning and analyze each step carefully. Some questions use repeating patterns, such as adding and subtracting, or multiplying and dividing in turns. Don't try to guess the answer quickly. Find the rule first, then calculate each step to make sure your answer is correct. Remember, the key to solving number series questions is to stay calm, identify the pattern, and apply the rule carefully. Alright, let's move on to the next question. Alright, let's move on to the next question. You have 20 seconds to work out the answer. That's right, the correct answer is 11. You could solve this question using the full algebraic formula, but that method takes longer. Instead, we've simplified the formula into a much faster shortcut. By substituting the number directly into our shortcut formula, you can find the correct answer in just 3 seconds. So instead of memorizing the full equation, simply remember our shortcut formula. It will help you solve these questions much faster and more accurately in the test. Therefore, the correct answer is 11. Alright, let's move on to the next question. You have 20 seconds to work out the answer. That's right, the correct answer is 24. For this type of question, the fastest method is to first identify the relationship between the two sets of numbers. Next, count the number of relationships and add 1. Then, divide the total number by the total number of relationships. And using this shortcut, we can quickly work out that the correct answer is 24. Alright, let's move on to the next question. You have 20 seconds to work out the answer. That's right, the correct answer is 45. The quickest way to solve this type of question is to treat the entire set of data as 1 hour. Then, divide it by 4 to find the value for each one 5-minute period, and take the smallest value and multiply it by 3. Using this shortcut, we quickly get the correct answer, which is 45. Alright, let's move on to the next question. You have 20 seconds to work out the answer. That's right, the correct answer is 35. The quickest way to solve this type of question is to visualize the data as a pie chart. In this case, 50% of the data remains unchanged, 25% of the data is reduced by half, and the remaining 25% is reduced to 0. Once we understand how the data is distributed, we can use a simple shortcut rather than calculating each value individually. Using this method, we multiply the given total by 1.25, which quickly gives us the correct answer. Therefore, the correct answer is 35. Alright everyone, we won't go into the test rules and exam details in this video, as we've already covered those elsewhere. Today we simply want to introduce our new ADF masterclass, where we'll teach you the fastest solving techniques, proven shortcuts, and exam strategies to help you perform with confidence on test day. If you're watching this, there's a good chance you're considering a career in the Australian Defence Force. Before anything else, I want to be very honest with you. Joining the ADF is not just applying for a job. For most people, it represents a major turning point in life, a chance to build something stable, meaningful, and long-term. Whether you're finishing school, changing direction in your career, moving to Australia as a new migrant, or simply coming from a small town looking for a better opportunity, the ADF can genuinely open doors that many people never get access to. It offers structure, professional training, personal development, and a real sense of purpose, along with the opportunity to build a future, not just for yourself, but also for the people around you. But before any of that becomes reality, there is one important step you need to get through, the assessment process. And from what I've seen over the years, most people don't struggle because they lack ability, they struggle because they don't prepare in the right way. A lot of candidates spend weeks or even months jumping between websites, watching different videos, doing random practice questions, and trying to figure everything out on their own. The problem is not effort, it's direction. The information is often scattered, sometimes outdated, and rarely structured in a way that actually helps you understand how the assessment works. As a result, many people end up studying hard but still feeling unsure about whether they're truly improving. Confidence drops, uncertainty builds, and the process becomes more stressful than it needs to be. That's exactly why we created the ADF Masterclass. Not as just another course, but as a structured way to help candidates prepare with clarity and efficiency from the very beginning. The focus is not on memorizing endless questions or chasing shortcuts. Instead, it's about understanding how the assessment actually works, learning the logic behind each question type, recognizing the common patterns, and avoiding the mistakes that cause most people to lose marks. Everything is designed to give you structure and direction so you're not wasting time figuring things out on your own. One of the key things we encourage in the course is a simple 1-2-3 speed method. In your first week, you go through the lessons at normal speed and focus on understanding the concepts properly. In your second week, you revisit the same material at a faster pace to reinforce what you've already learned. In your third week, you go through it again at even higher speed so that recognition, recall, and familiarity start to become natural. Over time, this repetition builds something very important, familiarity. And familiarity leads to confidence. By the time many students sit their assessment, they are no longer seeing everything for the first time. They recognize the patterns, they understand the logic behind the questions, and they are able to stay calm and focused under pressure. That is really the purpose of this program. Not to overwhelm you with information, but to help you prepare in a structured, practical way that saves time and builds real understanding. Because at the end of the day, the assessment is not just about knowledge. It's about preparation, mindset, and consistency. If you stay disciplined and follow a proper structure, you give yourself a much stronger chance of performing well when it matters. The opportunity in front of you is important. A career in the Australian Defence Force can bring stability, growth, discipline, and long-term direction in life. It can also create opportunities that extend far beyond the exam itself. So take your preparation seriously, give yourself enough time, and approach it in a structured way. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, and I genuinely wish you all the best in your ADF journey. Hopefully, good luck with your JOA, and hopefully one day soon I'll see you in the Defence Force